Welcome to the final webinar in preparation for the SC21 Student Cluster Competition. Next time we speak, you'll be in the competition. So I see we've got a bunch of people from teams, as well as a bunch of people from committee and some app experts and some advisors. That's really good to see. What we will go through today is we'll run through a few of the essential things that you will want to know. So calendar of events and what things you're required to attend. Some information about communication for teams and between teams and committee. Rules for teams and particularly rules for advisors. Some rules and tips for the benchmarking part of the competition. A little bit about how you'll go about submitting results, what to expect in the poster session, what is scored, and where to look for the leaderboard and cloud spend information. So first and foremost, calendar of events and things to know. Kathleen, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So there's going to be a few different calendars going around. So just so that you know, there is the official Students at SC events calendar, which you'll be able to find at the Supercomputing website. There's also the Students at SC guidebook that will tell you all about the different programming that's happening for the students program.
Oh, hang on. I was attempting to highlight the, what do you call it? Copy and paste that link for you. Sorry, keep going.
Yep, no problem. I guess since you opened that page, what you would do is you would go down and select Student Cluster Competition, and that will filter out the all event types.
That will be, here we go, yep. All event types. Students of SC, perhaps.
Yeah, sorry, in the main one, it's Student Cluster Competition, but anyway, you'll be able to see the Student Cluster Competition events as well as the Students at SC events. So please feel free to join the events that look interesting to you. So there are some mandatory events that we're going to request that you attend. The first one is going to be pre-competition, the SCC safety briefing that will happen on Saturday, November 13th, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Central Time. And then after that, the students at SC will have an orientation for all students that will also be on Saturday, 4:30 to 5:30 Central Time. Once the competition starts, we will have daily stand-up meetings. These should be relatively short. They will be inside the Zoom that will be provided to you all. We ask that everyone come to the SCC kickoff. That's when we're going to be announcing the mystery application. We would also like you all to be prepared to be on camera for a Zoom photo so we can have a picture with everyone and do a proper kickoff. During the competition time, we will have office hours for the applications, as well as you'll be able to ask some questions generally throughout in the Slack. There will be poster session times, as well as a time for the other judging from the science applications, and then the competition will end on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. All tasks for the competition must be submitted by this time. Please make sure that you submit your results early. And even if you have to go back and submit another result after you've kind of gone through again, just make sure that you're submitting so that you don't end up missing out points because you tried to submit too late. So once the competition is done, there's going to be the award ceremony on Thursday, where we will announce the winners for the competition, and then we will have the wrap-up meeting, this will also be through the Zoom on Thursday.
Thanks, Kathleen. That's a really good point to emphasize, actually, about at the end of competition, you won't be able to submit results past that time. The infrastructure will stop. So do make sure that you have your results in early. If in doubt, get a result in. And you know, if you need to rush a last minute result, then at least you've got one already in the system. Do you want to talk about communication as well, Kathleen?
Yeah. So during the competition, please pay attention to the Slack. Slack is going to be our main mode of competition, for communication. And so if you don't have access, please contact Stephanie, but you should all have access. And the channel to pay attention to in particular is the students SCC VSCC channel. Throughout the competition and during SC, there's going to be different Zooms for the daily check-ins and things. We'll provide this information later. You have received email with contacts for your liaisons to the committee. If you have questions that you want to have answered specifically for your team, please feel free to contact your liaison and then go ahead and contact us if you can't get in contact with your liaison. The liaisons will help manage all the questions. And of course, if you have questions that are general or about the science applications or benchmarking, those should all go into the main students SCC VSCC Slack. Like last year, we will have the leaderboard to show cloud span and some other metrics. That link will be posted on both the supercomputing website as well as the student cluster competition website.
The leaderboard was quite gripping to watch last year, and we anticipate that it will be this year as well as all the teams compete. Yeah, good point also to emphasize about the asking questions on Slack. Probably that's the right place to ask a question. That should probably be your first go-to.
So this year, because we're trying to match up with the, since it's a hybrid conference this year, we are requiring the teams, whether you are there in person or whether you are participating remotely, to be having a Zoom presence during the exhibit floor hours. We've put in the hours here, and there will be, the link to the Zoom will be provided later, and we will have breakout rooms for each team.
And one more set of or aspect of the rules. Like I'll take this one on. The rules for advisors are very simple. Once the competition starts, the student teams are not allowed to receive any assistance from anyone, and that includes advisors and mentors. So this is the part that for an advisor is quite nail-biting. You've done the work, you've done the preparation, and now you just have to sit back and watch as the teams put to use what they've learned. Is George on the call to talk about tips for benchmarking? I'm sure if he was available in this session. It looks like he's not. So we'll have these slides available for you to access and get these addresses. Like they should be sort of in the notes already afterwards. But the newest element of the benchmarking benchmarks is the IO 500. So you'll be able to get that from github.com, cd in prepare.shell for more information. And so we have information there about what you need to do to compile it. There's also a page about running it. It's essentially MPI run -np as many processes as you're going to use IO 500 with the SCC config. For single node submissions, you need to declare in the ini file to drop caches. I think that is so that you don't get kind of a false result due to caching. And that's part of the IO 500 SCC rules, which there's a link to there. I don't remember the technical details of the Stonewall, but it's a parameter in the ini file, and you'll want to set it to 30 seconds for during the actual benchmark. While you're testing, sort of getting things going, you can make that shorter just to sort of save time. Double check your output to make sure that the benchmark actually worked. If it says invalid anywhere or error, something went wrong and you'll want to do it again. And when you submit your benchmark results, please provide us with the command that you use to start it, or if you used a whole script that you use, and the directory in the results that has the best the best outcome when you submit your results. So you choose the best outcome to submit. Let's see, there is a few questions on the chat. Actually, what we might do is continue running through the slides first and then come back through the chat questions and other questions at the Q&A. So when it comes to submitting results for all tasks, there'll be a designated storage on the Azure and Oracle clouds according to the task. You'll get detailed information about where this is shortly before the competition. So to prepare for each submission step, you need to follow this directory structure, and it's pretty important that you follow this directory structure because the infrastructure for the leaderboard, for instance, uses this, and also following this structure means that the application experts and judges who are scoring your submission will be able to find the right thing and will score you on what you actually did. You don't want to miss out on those scores. So basically you need a top level directory for each application or benchmark. If there's multiple tasks for that application, then make a subdirectory under that top level for each task and name them task 1, task 2, task 3, and put the result files and any other required artifacts in the task descriptions in that corresponding directory. Posters. Do you have, I think, Ben perhaps, posters?
I don't think Ben could make it at this time.
Possibly not online in the session. Okay, so you have prepared posters already and submitted them. There'll be 4 poster judging sessions, and you'll get an email, or the team advisors will get an email to sign up for times in those sessions for judging. So each hour block will have up to 3 teams presenting. We'll be recording the presentations. The presentations should be around about 15 minutes and allow 5 minutes for questions from the judges. So only the teams that are presenting need to turn up at a given session, but we'll record them and you'll be able to see everybody's presentations
so Steve,
afterwards.
We're not going to record these. These
Oh,
ones are just for the judging.
Ones.
The ones that you've submitted already are recorded and they will be posted onto the website.
Yep. Sorry, the important correction. So yeah, once the times are arranged, you'll get meeting links. It might be WebEx, it might be Zoom, details to come. So these are the elements that will be scored. So for each application, you'll be interviewed by the application expert. This is your chance to show off what you've learned about the application during the experience. Your posters and interviews will be scored. There'll be a score for each of the benchmarks and for each of the applications. So Cardioid, Quantum Espresso, the mystery application, which you don't know what it is yet, we'll be announcing it at the beginning of the competition, and the reproducibility challenge, which will include submitting an article, basically a write-up of what you did for the reproducibility challenge. There are some important penalties to talk about, and I wonder if Andy or somebody from the infrastructure team would like to talk about these.
I'll take care of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to be having penalties for if you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing, like every year. So please make sure that you do not exceed your Azure budget. There will be increasing penalties for that. And then this year as well, in order to show the leaderboards, we're going to have monitoring on your systems. So please do not mess with the monitoring that is there. We will be, if we are unable to pull the monitoring, we will assume that you are doing bad things and we will penalize you for that. And of course, please only use the cloud resources that are provided to you for this competition. Don't go running somewhere else other than in the Azure cloud or in the Oracle cloud. And of course, only in the cloud where that application is assigned to.
Yes, important point. And of course, finally, don't forget that it's a competition, but it's also fun and a learning experience and just a great experience generally. So, make the most of it. Your competition entry includes access to the technical program. So you can find, particularly the things in the students at SC will be interesting and valuable, but there are also other technical sessions that you might find interesting to take a look at. The students at SC particularly has things like resume workshops, mentoring sessions. There's a data science competition to watch. Lots of good valuable stuff. So yeah, go hard, compete well, but also enjoy the experience and benefit from the rest of the conference as well. So that's the rundown of things that you need to know. And we have a bit of time and a number of people from the committee and application experts for questions and answers. And I see there are already a set of questions in the chat, possibly with answers. So a bit of discussion about the leaderboard. I see some of the advisors who were advising teams last year remember the leaderboard and remember it fondly. Only 30 seconds wall time required for the IO 500. I'm not enough of an expert in this benchmark to know the details of that. That's probably a good question to ask on the Slack channel, and then everybody gets the verification of the answer. Possibly there's somebody else here in the committee who does know the answer. We'll save it for Slack. Are we allowed to use the Slurm batch script? So I think the context of that question was for this one, right? I see. It is provided an answer here. You should be able to, as long as you meet the other requirements of the benchmark. Can we use our private cloud resources to test things out and debug during the competition?
No.
That's a good question. I don't think so.
You shouldn't be copying the competition input files outside of the cloud environments. All of that's going to be provided within the cloud environment that you're given.
Right. So the resources you have are just the provided cloud environments. So everybody's on a kind of a level footing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that goes into the penalties, right? So when Kathleen mentioned about the penalties, you can only use the cloud that's provided, because otherwise it could be very unfair.
Yep, that's the point. You can't even use the other cloud to test things out. So you need
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. If you run yourself low on budget on the Azure cloud, no hopping across to the Oracle cloud to test the Azure applications.
Or your private cloud, right? So
or any other cloud.
exactly. So
how many teams will be in person at the meeting? Where will they be located? I think there is a team or two that are going to be in the normal place.
I'll take that question, Steve.
Yeah.
So there will be one team that will be in person, and they will be located at the student cluster competition booth.
Do we know yet where that will be?
I believe that it will be number 133.
Right. So
but
inside
don't
the
quote me
exhibition
on that.
hall.
Yes, inside the exhibition hall.
Yeah, there's a few vendors that we know, and they wanted to know if they were going to be, they'll be at the meeting, and they wanted to drop by and see what it would be like. So I told them I'd find out.
Yes, the students will be there, so please drop by. We'll have committee members there coming through, so as well.
Excellent. And I also posted the question about the Grafana leaderboard. Our ER people are, waiting and ready to put up a link, but if you could put it out, even if it's not active, a little bit earlier so that they can have it kind of programmed in, and I'm not trying to get their attention at the kickoff to the whole meeting. For them, it would be helpful. So even if it's not quite live, if that's possible. If not, I'll tell them, but some advance notice, they would appreciate it. And you're right, who was it that said it's the best show, better than the Super Bowl? It's fun.
Yeah. Very, very gripping.
I'm laughing.
It's true. The refresh button is so useful.
Yeah. And we do see some sort of exciting activity happening on it. Makes you wonder, what are they doing? What's their strategy?
And so you're going to
right.
represent both clouds activities on the same leaderboard because they're separated out. Okay, that's cool. I like that.
So are there similar rules for HPCG and HPL available right now as there are for IO 500? Do we have somebody from the benchmarking team online? So the details of that one, we might need to announce on Slack or at the beginning of the competition. I think that HPCG and HPL kind of have fixed rules, as benchmarks, more widely than the SCC. So following those rules should get you a valid result. Sam's comment about should not or must not. I think I may have missed the context for that one. The external cloud resources, yeah. So that's a must not. So that's the questions we have in chat. Wrong way. So we have a number of committee members and some application experts online. Does anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask? Where will rules for applications be released? By rules, are you asking about the application tasks, the specific tasks to carry out? And directions on submitting. So the specific tasks will be provided at the beginning of the competition.
Yeah, same for directions for submitting. Those will be provided when the competition starts.
Okay.
Hi, Steve. For the reproducibility challenge, the instructions are already in a post on Slack, and they should be in a FAQ announcements Google Doc. And if you have any questions about the reproducibility challenge, please feel free to ask it on the Slack post that I have. There's a thread going on with a lot of questions already that other teams have asked. Please feel free to ask me on Slack about the reproducibility challenge and just add me on the Slack channel so that other teams can see it, and just add me there, and then I can answer your questions.
That sounds good. So also on Slack, in the students SCC, the SCC channel, there's a pinned or bookmarked document of the announcements and FAQ. So you can always find that quickly. Do we have any other questions? Teams are succeeding in their preparation.
I have a clarification question about the Zoom monitoring. So each team will have its own breakout room, right? And there needs to be
Yep.
2 students in the physical room that, or do they each log in independently and go into their breakout room?
So if you have students sitting in the same room, as long as it's 2 students, and I guess if you're on video and we can see that there's 2 students there, that's fine.
Okay,
But yeah, for others, maybe it's 2 people logging in from separate locations.
okay, as long as okay. And they are not supposed to go into other breakout rooms, I assume. You stay in your room.
No,
Correct?
you can certainly visit the other teams. It's meant to be like during the competition, right? When you have visitors coming in, other attendees as well, that you can go and talk to another team. So if you'd like to chat with
Okay.
each other, that's fine.
Okay, all right, cool. Another question is, usually in the other competitions, there's been like the power outages or any, surprises. Are you guys going to surprise us, and should we be planning? Did I miss any mention of a surprise event other than giving us $1 million on the last few hours like you did last year?
So we have not announced any surprises this year.
Okay. Yes.
I'm pretty sure there are no planned power outages for either of the cloud providers.
Yeah.
That would certainly make the news.
Yeah.
So I see a question in the chat from Aman about Google Groups. No Google Groups this year. Everything is through Slack. Okay, it sounds like questions are winding down. So we might finish early. We'll post the slides and the recording on the website fairly soon.
I have one more question, since nobody
Yeah.
else is asking. Last year, there was some indication of the budget that we would have during the competition. And now we have 2 machines. One machine has no budget, the Oracle Cloud, but is there a ballpark budget we could kind of plan for? Or will we wait until the start of the competition to know what that's going to be?
The budget will be announced at the start of the competition.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yep.
All right.
Part of the challenge. Okay. I think we can finish up here. Thank you all
Steve.
for participating. Yep.
I just wanted to note for those of you who didn't see the first webinar, we did have other people there who were talking about the different, like the IO 500 and whatnot. So if you want more details there that maybe weren't in this session, you can also watch that recording too.
Yes, that's a good idea, especially for yeah, elements where not everybody was available in each session, such as the IO 500. So we'll hopefully get those up in the in around the next day. Okay, thank you everyone. Good luck for your final preparations, and we will see you at what was the time of the safety briefing on Saturday Central Time.